Welcome to the only televised ASUA presidential debate brought to you from the UATV studios. I'm Jackie Kent, your host for this evening, and this is Wildcast. I'm joined tonight by ASUA presidential candidates Isaac Ortega and Taylor Ashton. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time. I wanted to start first with your platforms. We'll start with Taylor. Why does your campaign matter to UA students?
My campaign matters. The whole premise of it has been focusing on you. I've said it to every group, every individual I've talked to, that we're the students. We're the ones driving this institution. I think it's really important that all the emphasis, all the decisions on campus are being made with the students' best interests in mind. I've got three really clear, tangible, and simple goals. And what's really neat about them is it's not, this big visionary statement, but rather instead it has tangible plans of action beneath each one. I think that we're all paying a lot of money to be here, and we deserve some services that other schools are providing for their students, yet we're not getting. I also think that we need to build better relationships within our university community to make sure that there's the student voice is continually heard in these conversations. And finally, I really think that ASUA needs to be more accountable. We need to be action driven, we need to be reaching out to the students, and we need to operate like a true student government.
Right, Isaac?
My whole campaign centers kind of around this whole concept of making you count. And I feel like right now is like a kind of a really defining moment in our university's history. We just got a brand new university president, and she's like beginning to implement her never settle strategic plan. And now more than ever, students are very competitive in their fields. Even though we had about 10% show up to vote for our primaries this past primary election last week, it still falls far short of the 40,621 students we have. And that's kind of what I base the whole idea around is all of those students need to have their voice and their story told in some way, shape, or form. And whether it be through small tangible goals like better meal plans, or figuring out ways where we can represent them a little bit better, or a long-term strategic plans to begin the communication between students, and also kind of laying the foundation work for long-term affordability kind of things.
Okay, going off of that, Isaac, you mentioned just students knowing what's happening with student government. Is there some type of transparency that ASUA needs to work toward? And why should students care at all about ASUA? Why is it so important?
A great question. I think that's honestly something that we've, as an ASUA, is always kind of strive to do, is transparency, and I think it's a very important issue. But to be honest, I think it's just one piece to a very large puzzle. I think it's a very step one kind of thing. Very, we definitely should create new ways for students to come see what we're doing, and also vice versa, so we can go to students. But something that I'm really trying to focus on is creating an ASUA finally that's really proportionally representative of the student body, because we can do as much as we want to go to them and them come to us, but until those students are actually what is made up of ASUA, things probably will never change.
Okay. Taylor, do you have anything to add to that?
I'm not going to lie, I hate the word transparency.
Yeah.
I think that, as I had mentioned before, ASUA needs to be operating like a true student government. This campaigning process has been extremely valuable because I have been able to reach out to so many different groups on campus, so many different individuals. One of the things that I'm most proud of is I've spent my Sunday afternoons, my Saturday mornings walking campus, finding, people on park benches and sitting down and having them tell me, hey, I don't want to buy anything. And then me saying, no, I'm not trying to sell you something. I just want to talk to you. Let's figure out what you're a part of. What are you doing? Why are you here at the University of Arizona? And how can ASUA, your student government, better your experience? You mentioned transparency, and our connection to students. Something I've told every single person I've talked to, that within 30 days of taking office, there will be open and online scheduling. So just like students right now can go online and schedule an appointment with their academic advisor, they could do the exact same thing with me as their student body president. An anecdote I've used a couple times is I was talking to some students that are in the band, and I played trumpet for 8 years. I've got a lot of respect for them, and they said, we're practicing all the time, yet athletics is slowly cutting away at our playing time. And they're the pep band. That's why they're practicing. They want to be playing at the games. But their biggest concern was that they didn't have anyone to go to. They didn't know where they could talk about this. And so with something like this, where we would have open scheduling, they could come up, they could say, you know what, Taylor, this is going on and we're not very happy about it. And then I could say, you know what, well, I'm actually meeting with the athletics department next week. Let's go hand in hand together. Let's collaborate and, let you raise your concerns with them. I think that's what ASUA needs to be. It needs to be that student government that's not only able to make decisions on behalf of students, but also be able to reach out and talk to those students and find out what the challenges are that they're facing.
Okay, so you don't like the word transparency.
I don't.
But you mentioned the importance of reaching out to students. What's the best way we'll start with Taylor, the best way to collaborate with those clubs and, say, student media?
Yeah, collaboration is going to be huge. It's a full part of my platform for a reason, because 100, 200 people within our student government cannot be making decisions on behalf of 40,000 students. A student body president has to be someone that's willing to represent the students on a large scale, but at the same time be willing to walk the campus, talk to the people on park benches, and find out what they're dealing with. With the collaboration piece of it, you'd mentioned student media, and I think I'd mentioned it last night at the debate. I've got this excellent idea that not only collaborates with students on campus, but with student media. I think that we can all agree administration has made it very public. Tuition is going to be going up. There's no doubt about that. But I think that what a lot of students' concerns are, mine as well, is that it's not necessarily that tuition is getting more expensive, but it's that we don't know where the money's going. So I want to create the Student Tuition Use Advisory Committee that would actually have a group of students from all across campus, different college student councils, the culture centers, ASUA representatives, as well as someone from UATV Channel 3 or the Daily Wildcat. And we'd actually get a budget from administration. So, for me being a political science student, if we just did a brand new cluster hire of top-notch political science faculty, or we just, worked on deferred maintenance in Harville or added some new, materials for us in a library, we'd actually be able to see that. And then we'd ask administration our questions, we'd give them some feedback, and then during the third week of the phase, we'd work with student media such as yourself and develop a sort of report. And then we'd send that over to all the students. We'd broadcast it here with UATV3. We would go, UATV Channel 3, misspoke that one. We'd work with the Daily Wildcat, make sure that we print it there. These are the kind of collaborative efforts that aren't only beneficial for the student government working with students, but also to get those issues out to the students.
Great, and I know, Isaac, you're more into community outreach, same way, collaboration. Is that something similar you're thinking about, or what are your ideas?
Of course. I mean, just like I said, I feel like everybody has a story, and it's about being able to listen to stories and be able to tell them. So like during the campaigning process, you get signatures, whatever, trying to get on the ballot. I'm sure like nobody really enjoyed being bothered or anything. But I remember talking to this girl named Lisa, and she suffers from physical disabilities. And we sat, and she said, "You have no idea the kind of things I go through on a daily basis." And we talked for about 10 or 15 minutes. And as she was talking more and more about the kind of the difficulties from day to day, the kind of things that she goes to, and how helpful the DRC has been for her, it's just eye opening. And I realized, I don't have all the answers, and I kind of don't pretend to have all the answers either. It's kind of just like students are the experts at being students, and it's about being able to put them together and kind of focus on exactly what they need to be, the issues that they need to be handled. And for example, like as for one of my platforms, exactly right along the lines of students with disabilities, is being able to go and work with the DRC as well as as well as a representative from the community with students with disabilities, and kind of be able to create report cards for different departments on campus, whether it be some departments in engineering or whatever it may be, and kind of just be able to grade them and come back to them and say to DRC, here's like the plan of action that we've decided to like roll out as like decided on by these students, and then work with facilities management and see how we can better make the University of Arizona as accessible to them as possible. And I think it's just about really focusing on those really key issues for these like very important groups. Like for example, like even our student veterans who are doing amazing, and we have one of the best veterans transition programs in the nation. And even to our neighbors up north, they do like a very huge salute to service every like Veterans Day weekend, it's so huge. And the fact that we don't do it here is beyond me. And I would love to see and envision this whole great thing where we put together a whole week of actual events and parades and things for that, and ending and collaborating with athletics to kind of at the halftime of the football game, it's kind of, you know, how everybody has the cards and they hold up, it kind of makes an American flag all around. Because at the end of the day, the veterans, all they really want to is thanks, and I think it's the least that we can do for them.
Okay, thank you. This next topic is one both of you have touched on a little bit that's important to a lot of students, and that's tuition. And you both brought it up, but I wanted to get a little more detailed information out of you because it's something that matters to every student at the U of A. One thing in particular that's going around right now is what's called a guaranteed tuition petition. It's circulating online and on campus. So someone who starts as a freshman will pay that same tuition all 4 years. We'll start with Isaac. Is that something you're looking to support, or do you have other ideas for tuition?
Yeah, of course. So that was something that really hugely was backed by the current president, Morgan Abraham, who's done an amazing job of literally like taking a campaign style to it and just literally trying to get as many students behind it as possible. Personally, I support it. I think it's a very great thing that students are able to see, and you know, their future siblings and everything, that they know exactly what they're paying for the 4 years that they're here. If you know Morgan Abraham for some reason is not able to accomplish it for this next round for the Arizona Board of Regents to make that a thing for the University of Arizona, it'd be definitely something that I would be backing and supporting all the way throughout, like my administration, if I were elected. But something else I want to be able to touch on as far as like tuition and stuff goes, I feel like although you know it's becoming more stable and predictable, something that you know Governor Jan Brewer was talking about, and I'm sure whoever the next governor may be will also touch on that as well. I think, you know, once I feel like for students, especially myself, when I came here after my freshman year, I didn't know if I'd be able to come back, and that's because we kind of realized, you know, once the money is gone, the battle is kind of lost, and you know. And it's really important to know exactly where all the dollars are going, but we should never stop the fight on being able to control the costs we can, whether it's like through state funding, so things like tuition, or things that we can control on campus, which is like a lot of the really main focuses of what my platforms will be for like this next year.
Taylor?
Thanks. I'll tell you, I was alongside our current student body president, who I serve for the chief of staff for right now. I was the only undergraduate with him in the room with Dr. Hart, with Provost Comrie, with the chief finance officer, talking about tuition issues. And this specific issue about guaranteed tuition came up. And I've been really happy to be an integral part of this. You know, it's something that ASUA brought up, as Isaac said, kind of as a grassroots effort. You know, it's this crazy idea. It's something that NAU currently does, something that University of Colorado at Boulder is doing for out-of-state students, and it's something that we should definitely be bringing here to the University of Arizona. ASUA has been working really closely with our public relations department, with our policy department, and you know, we've been presenting to groups all across campus. We've presented to the faculty senate, to the strategic budget planning advisory committee. You know, these groups on campus have been extremely supportive because they know that there's a student need. You know, guaranteed tuition is going to be excellent next year when students have it, hopefully. But this isn't the only topic. We need to make sure that with all these things, the student voice is in on these conversations. You know, like I said, it's been an honor being a part of the guaranteed tuition process, but I think that there's other things for students that we need to be fighting for as well. And hopefully next year, if elected as student body president, I'll be able to be part of that.
Well, thanks from both of you. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break. Stay with us.
Hey Wildcats, my name is Isaac Ortega and I'm running for ASUA Student Body President. The University of Arizona is such a special place. It's such a huge campus but so tightly knit for so many people. It's home to some of the brightest minds and most ambitious people of our generation. Everybody that attends the University of Arizona has a special story, something that got them to the place they are today. And all those stories give them a unique perspective, a unique opinion, and all those opinions should be represented. 40,621 students. That's 40,621. That's the number, that's our goal. My presidency and the campaign will not be about me, but it'll be about everybody else. First, we will uphold our commitment to the community and make a lasting bond between students and the city of Tucson. Second, we will look for new ways to cut down the cost of attaining a degree. That's from the first day to graduation, not just looking at tuition anymore. Best of all, my presidency will be an open conversation with you, developing the path for the future. Students are the experts on being students, so just tell us what you need and we'll take care of it. Together we can build an ASUA that's representative of the student body, finally developing the constant communication with students. making our vision of the University of Arizona a two-way street. I invite you to join me on this journey to make all 40,621 students count. Thank you, and I hope you vote for me, Isaac Ortega, come Election Day. I'm so excited. Okay, all right.
Focusing on you means focusing on the students. It's building on what we have and embracing our diversity. For my term, I have 3 goals. Provide the services you deserve, develop relationships within our university community, and assure accountability and action out of ASUA. The responsibility of the student body president is to reach out to you. This will be my first priority. Within 30 days of taking office, there will be available online scheduling so we can talk about your questions or concerns personally. Have you ever wondered where your tuition money is going? Within that first month, I'll develop a committee of students to get the answers you deserve. And building relationships with administration is key. I will ensure we are using our resources to their fullest potential. Doesn't it make sense to see a syllabus before registration? And how about seeing those teacher course evaluations before enrolling? And why can't we get a ride to the airport before or after breaks? I'll be working on making these a reality for you next semester. So the best decisions, they're made when we're working together. I've been in ASUA for the past 3 years, and I've proved to be proactive, and I'm proud of my work. When elected, action will be taken, and the focus will be on you.
Back to Wildcast, we want to show you this full list on your screen right now. Here's the full list of candidates running this year. They made it through the primary last week. Also the list of senators running who will be on the ballot tomorrow. We have all of this information posted on our Facebook page. Just look for us at UATV and be sure to like us as well. And now back to the debate. We do have a question from Twitter. Justin wants to know from both of you, how far do the candidates think U of A will make it in the tournament next week? Both of you.
We're going all the way.
Oh, yeah.
I'm excited. You know, I'm a huge fan of Arizona basketball. I try to go to every home game I can. If I'm ever out of state, try to catch away games. I'm going to be in Las Vegas in less than a week for the Pac-12 tournament. Huge supporter, and I've got a lot of confidence in our team this year. So, knock on wood, let's see us go all the way.
Knock on wood. I mean, no doubt about it. Any extra comments with that?
I know. I think you hit it right on. Like, we're going to make it all the way through. I'm like, sure of it. Actually, you know what? Let's knock on wood because I don't know. I remember like even having a cookout when I was a little kid for like the '97 championship, and like literally like we were just like 20 minutes away, like in my house, and I just would love to relive that moment. Like,
yeah, you're from Tucson too, so that makes sense. Okay, well now that the serious business is over, you mentioned before, Isaac, only 10% of the student body voted last week in the primaries. Why do you think that number's so low, and why is it so important for students to vote tomorrow and Wednesday?
I can't stress how important it is. I mean, I think that it is probably like one of the single best things you could possibly do. Like today, I'm pretty sure everybody got the email from Dr. Hart, and I think that she even realized, even in her first year here, working with the current student body president, is how much of an effect it may have. And whether you elect somebody who you believe might do something along the lines you want to do, I think is the most important part, is because that eventually will be the kind of person who will be representing you in front of the administration or directly to the university president. So it's very, very important. And so you asked why I think it's like a little too low. As a matter of fact, it was a huge spike. Even though it was like just 10%, it was a huge spike. And the previous candidate who was here last week with us, Ava, did an amazing job. I think it was a very like honorable thing of her to really bring out so many new voters. And it's something that she and everyone who voted should be very, very proud of. But I think it goes right back to that thing that ASUA has been working on, this whole thing of transparency, accessibility, and all all these great buzzwords for a very, very long time, and all these platforms that go along with them. But again, it's just like one piece of the huge puzzle. And I think not until we get students from every walk of life and every corner of the campus to actually be engaged with ASUA and actually be a part of like the actual team, I don't think things will change until things go along down that road.
About you, Taylor?
Yeah, I agree. I think Isaac made a great point. The fact that we had the highest voter turnout in the primary election since 1989 says a lot about all three of our campaigns, and it's definitely something that we should all three be very proud of. At the end of the day, this is an important election. You're electing the student body president, and the student body president is the person that's representing you at the Capitol, in front of legislature. They're the ones speaking in front of the Arizona Board of Regents or in on those discussions about tuition and what it's going to be next year. So you need to be able to elect someone that you're confident in representing you in those different settings, as well as be someone that you want to talk to, someone that you can go up there, have a conversation with, grab coffee or lunch with. These elections are more than just making sure that the students that are currently involved in ASUA or our friends are going out and logging on and casting their votes. It's about the whole student body. That's who we're representing, and that's who should be voting in this.
Great. All right. Now that we're wrapping up the last couple of questions here, and without getting too crazy, we'll start with Taylor. Tell us all, everyone at home, why you are the better candidate here tonight.
I'll tell you, Jackie, I've got the experience, I've got the dedication, I've got the drive, and I know I will do an excellent job in this position if elected. I've said it before, the University of Arizona truly is my home. I came here not knowing a single person. It was definitely out on a limb, it was a risk, but it's the best decision that I've made. If given this opportunity, I know I will do a great job. I currently serve as the Chief of Staff to the Student Body President, which is invaluable experience. I think one of the biggest issues is students a lot of times, think that ASUA might not be doing anything because there's such a big learning curve. You have to be able to jump in unafraid to take risks and find people or administrators or groups on campus that's willing to take those risks with you. That's how we're going to make action on this campus. And I can tell you right now, I'm dedicated to seeing through action, seeing through change, and doing a great job at representing the students next year.
Right. Isaac?
Why am I the best candidate? I feel like just the way that I came about this, you would ask me maybe like 5 months ago if I would run for ASUA president, I would say like, you're really out of your mind. But until then, from that point, I've been able to kind of step back and be able to recapture my entire moment up to this actual very moment here. And I wouldn't have originally never gotten involved with ASUA from the very first day. I probably wouldn't have. I stayed with the very few friends that I have from high school, and then I also stayed with the people I met in UStart, this awesome program with 300 students, and they became my family. And I got one of the luckiest experiences actually being involved with Freshman Class Council. And, being from where I'm from in southern Tucson, it wasn't always the easiest road to get here. Every single step that I've got to be here, it was almost always a dream. And the day that I got my acceptance letter from the University of Arizona, it was probably one of the happiest days in mine and my parents' life. I still remember to this very day. And it's been kind of a struggle ever since then. Even after my freshman year, like I said a little bit earlier, I didn't know if I was going to be able to come back. My mother was laid off her job, my father's hours were really cut, and I didn't know if that was a thing to be able to come back to University of Arizona for me. But I because of the graces of ASUA and being able to be very, very engaged with the campus, as well as continuing to work as the chief of staff and also as the ASUA treasurer this year, has really given me all the motivation I needed to take out loans, take out a part-time job, and continue coming to the University of Arizona. And honestly, I think the experience is a very great quality in a candidate, and I don't, but by no means I don't think it's a very gift. I think it's just a requirement to also have. But most importantly, I think it's the most important thing to have walked a day in the life of those students who may have had more extra struggle and things like that. So that's why I think that I'm the best candidate.
Okay, and now, after that, now is your last chance. Any final statements? We'll start with you, Isaac.
I really, first of all, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, no problem.
I've never done anything like this before, but this has been an absolutely amazing experience, and so has been these last few months, being able to sit down with people from all across campus and all walks of life, even people back from my New Start when I was doing this freshman year, and us talking. I remember sitting down in a room with 5 people who I went in the New Start program with that I haven't really spoken to a lot since, and they just kept saying that it's crazy how much things have changed. And I say, yeah, it is really crazy, and they were all very, very proud, and they just said, like, just guarantee me one thing, and they're like, do the best possibly can if you do get this, and just remember, like, don't forget, us and the other people that you originally came here with, and that was the one promise that I made throughout this whole thing that I will for sure never forget.
Great. Taylor.
Yeah, I'd like to say something along the same lines. This has been an excellent experience campaigning. I think Isaac can agree that you don't get a month like this any other time in your life, and being able to meet so many different students, reaching out to those different clubs, doing the walks on the mall, it's been excellent. I just said I'm really confident in my abilities. I know if I get this opportunity, I'm going to do an excellent job next year. I can think of a lot of things that a lot of seniors are going to be doing next year, and there's a reason that I'm putting in as much work as I am. Because I truly think I'm the best candidate. I really want to have this opportunity. So I thank you for giving us, another chance to talk. It's always fun to sit down and, talk about issues that are relevant to students. And, I encourage everyone to go out to the polls tomorrow and cast their vote.
Yeah, well, you guys are both so much fun to talk to. I appreciate you taking the time to come out here. You know that all of these questions tonight came from students at home through social media and just, asking around on campus. So these are the questions that matter most to them. So again, thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And remember, voting starts tomorrow, March 11th at 8 a.m. and runs through Wednesday, March 12th at 8 p.m. Just follow the link at asua.arizona.edu. There are also polling locations on campus. Thanks again for joining us tonight for this special edition of Wildcast. From all of us at UATV, good night.